Hey, everyone! Does anyone else have this series that they got into later in their life and you just can't help but feel like you should have watched it as a kid? Because you know that your kid self would have liked it so much and it feels like years wasted not knowing about it. Well, it is the case for me, and the series in question is Cardcaptor Sakura, though you may have guessed it already by seeing the title of this video. And since I love this series so much, I decided it definitely deserved its own video. So today we're drawing a cute illustration for Sakura. And by cute, I mean going all in with it. Big shoujo eyes, a cute sweet Lolita outfit, and everything nice. Let's go. It's kind of funny because the show was literally on TV when I grew up, but I still never watched it. I don't even remember catching just a glimpse of it. And you know what? I even had a t-shirt of Sakura as a kid. Though it may have been my sister's. But anyway. It always had a presence of sorts in my life, but it took so long before I actually sat down and decided to watch it. And I'm so glad I did. It is an amazingly precious anime, a perfect addition in the magical girls genre. Though Clamp, who made the manga, did have some weird ideology at times, and you know what I'm talking about if you've read the manga especially, but you can't deny that everything else about it is really good. Thankfully, the anime did a really good job at watering down a lot of the weird aspects, hence why I tend to prefer the adaptation over the manga. I absolutely can't deny the art style of it is gorgeous though, but that's Clamp for you. So the idea I had for the drawing was to make an illustration that could look like a manga or magazine cover. I saw on Pinterest a lot of cute photo shoots with old wired phones, and it really inspired me. And I'm not sure if I mentioned it before, but I love Lolita fashion so dearly, both to wear it and to draw it. I thought it'd be pretty fitting for Sakura to be dressed in that style, as many of the outfits she wears during the series are very reminiscent of Lolita fashion. Tomoyo really knew what she was doing. The dress I'm drawing is also one that actually exists. It's called Dreamy Baby Room by Angelic Pretty. This brand is definitely one of the most popular for sweet Lolita fashion, and it definitely comes with a price. It's fine for me personally though, as I prefer classic and gothic Lolita. Kinda surprising, considering how much I love pink and everything cute, don't you think? So as I said, I actually got into Cardcaptor Sakura as an adult, and surprisingly the anime doesn't feel too obviously for kids. I may not be the best qualified to be the judge of that though, because I rarely dislike stuff that is usually for kids. But what I mean is that the plot is actually pretty intriguing, and though the episodes follow a pattern for pretty much all of them, the characters and the aesthetic of the show just makes for a fun and comforting experience. The soundtrack is amazing, and don't get me started on the openings and endings, all of them are just so iconic. Personally, my favorite characters of the show are Yukito and Sayorin. Yukito because he's so sweet to Sakura and such a cute character overall. He's always so caring of others and such a soft presence. He's a good contrast to Sakura's brother, Toya, who's definitely a lot moodier and strict. Sayorin, well, he is such a cute kid. I adore how he tries to act so tough all the time, but he's actually pretty shy and reserved. The cast of characters for the show is so diverse, and I can't say there's any that I truly dislike. Well, except for one, but that's beyond the point. Sadly though, when the newer season of the anime came out, I ended up not caring for it as much as for the original anime. While the Clear Card arc is still good, it just doesn't hit the same for some reason. I found the new characters less interesting and the episodes were kind of boring. I feel silly saying this because I'm actually someone who loves slice of life stuff, where basically nothing happens, but it just didn't work for me with Clear Card. And I won't go into spoiler details in case anyone wants to watch it, but I will say this one thing: I do not like how they handle Yukito's character at that point in the story. It's like suddenly he's irrelevant, and that really annoyed me. I think it's one of the main reasons I actually stopped watching the new episodes. I'm sure a lot of you can probably relate, but to me, characters are the most important part of a story. They're what makes or breaks a series. Your plot can be super interesting all you want, but if your characters are badly handled or boring, then it doesn't really have any meaning anymore. Also, another thing about Clear Card, I don't think the wand looks that good. It is pretty, but when you compare it to the claw wand and the star wand, it doesn't have that iconic look. By the way, the claw wand is my favorite and I dream of being able to own an official replica of it one day. That's also why I decided to give Sakura here a bracelet with it. I also made the phone she's holding look like the star wand. And would you look at that? For once I actually remembered to manually record some footage, so I'm gonna let you enjoy those close-ups without my rambling. Did you miss me yet? One of the things I enjoyed drawing the most in this piece was definitely the lace. Now don't get me wrong, it's not easy drawing lace, but somehow I still find the process pretty fun. It takes a lot of trial and error before finding a style that looks right, but once you find one, it can really elevate the quality of your drawing in my opinion. It gives it that oomph, that bonus tasty detail, you know? Also, in case you're curious, I spent around 2 hours and a half on this drawing. To me though, it felt like so much longer. I love working on illustrations like this that require more polishing and rendering, but it takes so long. Neatening everything, making sure all areas get approximately the same amount of love put into it. It's a whole lot of work. It probably seemed longer to me because I didn't actually spend 2 hours straight on it, it was over the course of multiple days. As I mentioned in my video about art tips, it really is important to me to come back to a drawing multiple separate times. It saves a lot of useless frustration for sure. Oh, and can I just say, I'm so happy with how the eyes turned out. I wasn't sure how to approach them at the start, but I think they turned out really cute. I wanted to make sure it had that iconic shoujo sparkle and the bright colors it comes with. I also adjusted the colors a bit, and I think that helped a lot to elevate the drawing as well. They just feel a bit more coherent now, and more pastel. Can we take a moment to appreciate the fact that after all this time, Karo-chan finally got some love? Poor thing was looking like an abstracted mess over there. I wonder what Sakura is listening to over the phone, because looking at Karo-chan's face, it seems like some juicy gossip. And no, don't worry, I didn't just give up on the phone's wire thing. I did it on another layer and just made it invisible because it was in my way. It just felt troublesome to work around it. By the way, that phone cord was so stupidly difficult to draw. I looked at so many pics, and I did my best at emulating the way they look, but even now I'm not totally sold on the result. But I figured it was fine, considering it's not a point of focus for the drawing. Well, I hope it's not. Just focus on her face instead, will you? For the hair, I'm never sure how to go about rendering them, honestly. But I think I did a good job here. It's always tricky to me for some reason to find the right balance of highlights and shading. By that point though, all the toughest parts were basically done. So it was time to give the rest of the drawing proper shading and darken some of the lines. That way all the right details will pop just the right amount. I guess this is my way of doing line art, just at the very end. And finally, I could also put the print details on the dress. I struggled to find a clear pic of all the little elements on it, but I think from afar it definitely looks right. I wonder if some knowledgeable Lolita would recognize it just from seeing the finished illustration. That would be the highest praise to me for sure. Now of course, before considering the drawing finished, the cord needed to have some shadow to give the drawing more depth. I also added some to Sakura's hand, since Karo-chan is right above it. So all we need now is a background, and Ibis Paint X is to the rescue. After trying a bunch of options, I settled on this pink one. With the lace and the cake frosting, it made for the perfect sweet Lolita combination in my opinion. It just needed some adjustments color-wise, but that was easily and quickly done. And so that means we are finally finished with the illustration. Voila! What do you think? I couldn't resist adding the sparkles, they seem to fit just right in. Overall, I have to say I'm really happy with how this turned out. If you haven't watched the show yet, I highly recommend it. I'm sure it could definitely surprise you, as much as it did for me. You won't regret it. I sincerely hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to help the channel grow. See you soon for some more anime nerdy talk.